And I want to tell you something else. It's not just ladies, because it's guys, too. But at Daylight Donuts, when you come through that drive-thru, it's fast. You're in and out. We're in New Hartford. In and out. The coffee's great. But, you know, these are not breakfast sandwiches that come frozen and they pop them into a microwave oven. You can see right over there they're actually taking out the cheese and the egg, and they're making them here. And it's delicious.
You mentioned that quick drive-thru. Every morning when I come through to pick up the coffee for the studio, it's like they have it ready for me. They say pull up. They recognize my truck. And they've got a bunch of regulars here. They're calling up people out by name. So come on down. They're quick. They're awesome. They're friendly. And
good stuff.
Delicious coffee.
Chuck Sedala is the man. Senator Joe Griffo, it's Joe time. You're a big, huge supporter of Donald Trump. And here he is right now, Donald Trump. Donald, this is one of your state Senate supporters.
I love this whole thing. You know, I love cups of Joe's. I love Joe. I love cups. I love great. Daylight Donuts is a great establishment. It's better than Darkness Donut because you know what hides in the darkness? Crooked Hillary. She's always in the shadows. You know what? A quick shout out to my buddy Vlad. You know, I want you to find those emails just as well as you could. I want the determination you used with your Olympic team. I want those emails coming out. I want Vladimir on the steroids, in the hackers. I want it all done. Big, beautiful wall, huge. No Mexicans, great. Hallelujah. God bless America.
Just like Donald Trump, Senator, he doesn't give you a chance to talk.
I didn't hear him say believe me, though.
Believe me, it's going to be beautiful. And
it is. It's an amazing thing, really.
It is. 10th grader. 10th grader.
I think you ought to start a new segment, Ask Angelo.
Ask Angelo or Ask Donald.
You know, I think Angelo would like that very much. That sounds like a good idea. I like him. We should keep him around. He's good.
He's a national security advisor, Angelo.
Yeah. Well, there you go, Senator.
As long as they don't start riding horseback. You know, Mike Sedala's a big horse guy.
I didn't know that.
And, so we might get that picture of the Donald on a horse.
Oh.
No, it's going to have to be like Vladimir's. I'll be shirtless. My golden locks.
All right, good stuff. Sit down. Sit down there, Trump. I've had enough of you. Here now is we're here. We're here because Senator. And let's see. We're going to start with Dominic. Good morning, Dominic. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for having me on.
So this is why we really did this, for just people to be able to walk in and question the senator. The floor is yours.
Oh, well, thank you. Dominic Nicotera. I'm a mental health practitioner for Mohawk Valley Community College and also private practice. And one of the things that I'm seeing that maybe, Senator, you can comment on was interesting in the news. Is how John Hinckley is being released from prison.
I'm so glad you're here today because we were trying to talk about this earlier.
Oh, okay.
And we have no mental health. Actually, I have no mental health, period. But no mental health experience.
That's why Dominic's here. You can see him later. And then,
okay, that's perfect.
Just get your insurance card out, please.
Yeah. All right, good. So what are your thoughts? Are you asking the senator?
Well, you know, as a practitioner, we're in a little bit of a mandated bind, if you will. At the same time, I just, in general, wanted your thoughts about gun control.
Yeah, Dominic, let me ask you something first, and I'll go there. You're a clinician. We were not clinicians, but we have an opinion. I don't believe John Hinckley should have been released. I believe that from a mental health perspective, in some cases when diagnoses are made, you cannot cure it, you can treat it. I don't know if that's an accurate representation of how you handle things clinically. So, like in the case of John Hinckley, I still think he has some issues, and I'm not sure how he's being observed. I mean, how do you monitor his behavior, observe what's taking place?
He's out for the last few years. 17 days out of every month he gets to go home with his mom. But now he's just going to be released. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
My understanding is the Secret Service had been monitoring him, though, during those release periods and still had some cause for alarm. But go ahead, Dominic.
No, I'm reflecting on that, and I got to say, in a lot of ways I agree. Monitoring is difficult. Many mental health patients have major issues in even taking their medication. So we can have a situation where somebody refuses to take their medication or doesn't follow a treatment plan, and relapse is sometimes inevitable.
Yeah.
So, that's basically where my concern is.
So when we have the discussion of violence, you asked about guns. Here's my problem. I think that when we have a discussion, and we need to have this discussion about the pervasive violence in our society and the factors that contribute to that. So are guns one element? Absolutely, and we can have a discussion on that. I am a saying and look at the culture of violence that exists. Are we desensitizing our population by some of the games that are available at young age? But the most important element, in my opinion, which is not being adequately addressed or we're not adequately dedicating the resources to, is mental health. I believe that all of our attention and effort should first and foremost be on mental illness and mental health. And how do we avoid these problems? Because if you look at the one constant factor in all of these acts of violence outside of acts of terror are mental illness contributing factors. And yet I don't believe we're taking care of that, dealing with that. We're not listening to the mental health experts. We're not putting the money and the resources we need to into mental health programs. So I think that should become a priority for us when we have this conversation and debate on violence in society.
And beyond gun violence, it's the robberies. It's the fact that a large amount of money that we have to take care of people that can't take care of themselves. I'll come back. Well, mental health and also drugs. Those are the two issues that seem to be. I don't think it's the guns. What are your thoughts?
No, I definitely agree.
There was a knife used the other day, a truck used in France. Mm-hmm. There's a mental health issue going on here.
It seems to be all connected. We talk about mental health. You have to also talk about health care insurance. We have practitioners trying to make a living at the same time. The whole system is not designed to flow in a way, and not only mental health, but even the medical situation. I see signs around the city on nurses, sounding the alarm that our patients are in trouble if you don't.
They're close to a strike right now.
Exactly. So, it's a systems issue in many respects.
And I don't believe widespread deinstitutionalization has worked either, Dominic. We're closing facilities that I believe we still need to have open. I understand that we have to look at this in a humane way and that we have to look at things from a 21st century perspective, but I don't think necessarily closing these institutions and dumping people in the community, particularly from a mental health perspective. I think when you look at developmental disabilities, it's a different issue. But from a mental health perspective, I think there have been many mistakes made trying to just dump people in the community under the auspices of deinstitutionalization.
And isn't it funny that this Hinckley issue really is representative of what's going on throughout the country. And maybe Hinckley is going to be released and is going to be perfectly fine. But it is that mental health issue that, for you to be able to pull the trigger on a human being and shoot an innocent, and we're seeing children, we're seeing innocent men and women just shot for no reason at all.
Right.
There's got to be a problem inside. Something isn't computing properly to be able to pull that trigger and take a human life.
Right.
I would think.
I agree. Definitely.
Funding is the issue, though? Funding?
Oh, yes, because, you read in the news sometimes, practitioners getting in trouble basically because of fraud on insurance companies, and that's wrong. At the same time, firsthand, I realize in many respects, getting paid is not easy because you get things kicked back to you.
Some don't even want to use insurances anymore because they don't get paid, and they wait so long to get paid. I got a break, though. We have news top of the hour. Dominic, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
WIBX Utica. It is 8 o'clock.